Welcome to Deep Thought. A new matrix will form. Now, whether or not this matrix is good or bad, it remains to be seen. Because a matrix don't necessarily have to be an evil thing where people are being exploited. It could be a good thing. But whatever the case, with everything that's going on, it's my view that something new will form. Now, the final version of it, who benefit from it, that remains to be seen. Because I'm paying attention to, like, the general reaction to all of this, right? The general reaction. And I'm just like, what's really happening? Like, there's going to be a lot of changes, a new normal. And despite everything, despite millions of people being furloughed, many businesses shut down. Ironically, there's people hiring. I'm noticing a lot of the businesses that are still open are hiring. There's like constant people saying, hey, we're hiring. I'm like, what? And I'm just like, And then I'm looking at the situation because in every negative situation, yes, there's been a multitude of deaths, also a even greater multitude of people who got through this thing. And then the whole economic thing, yes, there are people who's, on the verge of bankruptcy or will have bankruptcy, and people laid off. Only thing that's keeping people from being kicked out of, the places they live, there's a moratorium. But all of a sudden, when the moratorium is lifted, these people might find they owe a whole lot of money and still get kicked out. Remember, we still live in a capitalist society. Things might be on pause now, but people need to be saving their money now, all right? Because I know, I get into the deeper aspects of, thinking and, general things on spirituality, but we still got to be practical out here. Just had to say that. So, but, a new matrix, because the old matrix, the old system, it's going to go down. It's going down. There's going to be changes. I mean, no matter what, when you have this much disruption, it basically breaks what's there. It's not going to go back to what it was. In my view, I don't, somebody, if you disagree, hey, just intelligently say why. Just intelligently say why. But a new system will form. I see it as a new matrix, a new normal, a new way of doing things. Now, I don't think the social distancing thing, I've heard some people and seen some stuff where people say that'd be a new norm. I don't think it will be. Because if you look at like some of the places that's allowing people to go back to the beaches and everything, people like screw that social distancing. Because I'm going to tell you what, and y'all know how we flow on this channel, Stream of Consciousness. People by nature need to be around each other. They need touch. They need to be close because our bodies actually will respond. Like have you ever been around somebody you felt a chill? Like you felt a chill, like they just walked past you, like, ooh. That's that energy. Or you be around somebody else and you just feel good, you feel tingly. And then, of course, the times we're around somebody and, we're aroused. That's just human nature. We got to be around people. And honestly, I think something that people not talking about, I think there will be a lot of mental health issues because people are not making contact. People are not touching. Or just being around each other. I really do. Somebody might even be, if somebody has an article somewhere that even talked about that, please share it in the comments. But whatever the case, whatever's happening, something new's going to form. You're going to have this, like I said, during this thing. Yeah, there's a lot of people who, money's gone, a lot of businesses, early on in this thing when they started the shutdowns, I read where there were like 500,000 millionaires that lost their fortunes because it was tied up in the stock market. But at the same time, which I haven't seen anybody write about, maybe somebody did. Once again, if you have something, share it in the comments. And this probably created some more millionaires, maybe even billionaires, because they were invested in the right areas. And you have different businesses build it up. Like a lot of businesses who were already online and maybe doing some type of commerce online, they were building up. Okay, like for example, when I do webinars for one of my private sites, I use Zoom. Now, I read somewhere where the founder of Zoom, the owner of Zoom, made $2 billion. $2 billion. And see, once you have that level of money, it's more than just, being in some mansion or something. You get a level of influence. Because if you're at that level, you can invest in other businesses. You can invest in politicians. You get a level of power. You can start pushing a narrative that you want. A difference. Now, if you have a critical mass of people who are making money on a different thing, different business leaders and stuff, they actually create a new norm. They create a new system. And, combine that with what I said in my last podcast about sleepers. Well, people, they'll wake up briefly, but then as people in the position of authority, power, economic strength start to impose their will, all of a sudden you get something else created. You probably, without us realizing, we have architects. Do you remember in the Matrix movie, you had an architect. He created the Matrix. He built it. Well, in the real world, we have several architects. It could be, and it's not always somebody rich. It could be somebody on social media who's still doing their thing. They on social media still doing their thing, and they could say, hey, this is what y'all supposed to be doing. Somebody's listening to, and it'll be different because old structures will follow, old social systems will follow. New things, new forms of ways of doing things, new ways of looking at stuff. Like, for example, I've known at least 2 people in the more holistic communities believe that they had the coronavirus. They believe they had it, but they use holistic methods to deal with it. And even with this virus, the primary people who are succumbing to it have been people who had pre-existing conditions. So if that's the case, the idea of just being healthy, and there's a lot of people who are in their health, like build up your own immune system and everything, that's going to take a hold. That's going to be different, and that could affect the whole medical system. There's a lot of people walking around sick. Now, if you say to people, well, the best way to deal with this is to deal with the pre-existing stuff, that changes a whole lot. Maybe, because even like a lot of the pills used to treat these things don't really solve anything. Reason why, they're not meant to solve anything. They're not meant to, because then the people who make those pills, they don't make their money. Because they need to get, if you just take those pills and you okay, please. The most it does is alleviate the symptoms. But say if you get into a different type of lifestyle where, you change how you eat, exercise, drinking more water, whatever it takes, then you don't even have that problem. Like high blood pressure, diabetes, really the best things I've seen for stuff like that is a lifestyle change or even an emotional change, because emotions affect each of the organs. Emotion, having anger could affect your liver. Grief could affect your lungs. And the heart, a lot of times people have a heart attack if, something happens with something that they love. So it's like people would have to have a total lifestyle change, and those who are in position to promote those lifestyles or to have some type of product or service that services that lifestyle, they become very powerful. So you get a whole new system. I want y'all to think about that. Think about that. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.